So if you're a Polish entrepreneur, you've probably got your eyes on the UK. But let's be honest, it's a bit of a puzzle right now. Post-Brexit, is it this incredible land of opportunity, or is it a minefield of new challenges? Well, we're about to unpack a strategic guide based on some amazing insights from a huge conference in Rzeszów that's going to answer exactly that question. Okay, so let's set the scene. We're at the Doing Business with the UK conference in Rzeszów, and you can really feel the history in the room. As Councillor Stephen Cowan said, the connection between Poland and Britain, it's deep. It's not just about trade deals. It's a bond that was forged in some of Europe's toughest moments. And now, this centuries-old partnership is navigating a totally new economic world. And that right there is the big question. To get the real answer, we're going to zero in on the insights from Michael Dembinski. He's the chief advisor of the British-Polish Chamber of Commerce. And let me tell you, his presentation, it wasn't a sales pitch. It was a masterclass in economic reality for anyone who's actually serious about making it in the UK. So let's kick things off with the good news because, honestly, the headline numbers are, well, they're pretty incredible. Despite all the talk and all the noise around Brexit, the actual data tells a story of record-breaking growth in trade between Poland and the UK. Take a look at this number, 1.3 billion. You know what that is? That's the value of Polish goods exported to the UK in a single month. Now to give you some perspective, before Poland joined the EU, that was about the trade volume for an entire year. I mean, the scale of this growth is just staggering, and this is where it gets really interesting. Whereas value of Polish goods exported to Germany, France, Czech Republic, Italy and the Netherlands in the first 8 months of 2025 are all slightly below the value. They were in the same period of 2024. The value of Polish goods exported to the UK has grown slightly. So you're probably thinking, okay, the UK is a golden ticket, right? Let's go. But hold on. This is where Michael Dembinski's advice is so critical. He really urges us to look past those big flashy headlines and to understand the complex reality of the economy that's actually driving those numbers. And here it is, the reality check. You see, the UK is an economy of extremes. And if you want to succeed there, you have to understand the pressures happening inside it. This is the part where we shift from blind optimism to smart, sharp strategy. Here's the most crucial point to get your head around. Britain's manufacturing base is tiny. I mean, it's less than 8% of its entire economy. So what does that mean? Well, it means the UK has to import physical goods. It creates this fundamental built-in opportunity for countries like Poland that actually make things. Okay. But here's the catch. For the last 2 decades in the UK, prices have been rising faster than people's wages. Just look at the difference with Poland, where wages have grown way more than prices. This one fact right here is the engine behind the UK's cost of living crisis, and it directly affects who can actually afford to buy your stuff. And what's the direct result of that? The British middle market, the average consumer, is getting squeezed. The market is polarising. You see, the budget-focused low-end sector is doing just fine, and the high-end luxury stuff is also pretty resilient. But that huge middle ground, the traditional target for so many businesses, it's shrinking. So given that whole complex picture, how on earth do you win? From just analysis to a clear, actionable playbook for Polish companies. Rule number 1 is simple, but it is absolutely non-negotiable. Do your homework. You've got to understand the competitive landscape before you even think about making a move. Who are you really up against? What are their prices? How do they market? How do they get their products to people? And maybe most importantly, what does their brand actually mean to a British shopper? And Dembinski says this is the number 1 mistake he sees Polish companies make. They just jump in without a clear plan. You have to make a conscious decision. Are you going to compete on price down at the budget end of the market? Or are you competing on brand and quality at the premium end? Because in this market, you just can't be everything to everyone. And that choice, price or quality, well, it leads you right to the next big question. How do you actually get into the market in the first place? Dembinski basically lays out 2 very different paths you can take. So option 1 is what we call organic growth. You build your own presence, your own brand, your distribution network all from scratch. Option 2, which is getting more and more popular, is mergers and acquisitions. You just buy an existing British company and you instantly get their brand recognition and their entire setup. Now, a lot of this choice comes down to a really tough question. What does brand Poland actually mean to the average person in the UK? The reality is, while the quality of a product might be world-class, the brand association is often, it's a blank slate. There isn't a strong ready-made perception for Polish goods in a lot of sectors. And that's exactly why buying a British brand can be such a powerful shortcut. You know, think about InPost buying the historic logistics company John Menzies. It immediately gave them credibility, a massive customer list, and a ready-made path to the market that would have taken them years to build on their own. But hey, don't write off Poland's ability to dominate a niche all on its own. Dembinski shared this amazing fact. Of the 6 biggest makers of horse-drawn carriages in the world, 4 of them are Polish. It's just a perfect example of this world-class niche excellence that can absolutely succeed on its own terms. So that's really the question you have to ask yourself. Do you have a product that is so good, so exceptional, that you can build your own brand around it like those carriage makers? Or is your fastest path to success to buy a trusted British name to get your product into the hands of the masses? All right, so let's boil all this down. After all the data, all the strategy, what's the one big thing you should take away from this deep dive into the UK market? It really is this simple. As Michael Dembinski reminded everyone in Rzeszów, the opportunity in the UK is absolutely real, but it is not automatic. It belongs to the companies that do the hard work, the ones who plan, who adapt, and who lead with a deep and honest understanding of the market. So Dembinski has given us the map. You now have the data. You have the key strategic questions you need to ask. The only thing left is, how are you going to position your brand to write your own success story in the UK? I'm a host for BusinessRadio.media under the direction of our editor-in-chief, giving voice to the trusted leaders shaping Europe's economic future.